Let's talk about this Trae Young situation because it underscores a few of the commandments and really just team building principles in general. Because what we have here is a misalignment between player and team on what their value is and what they should be paid, what their responsibilities are, what their role should be. Trae Young sees himself as a team's best player. He wants to continue to be paid as such. The realization has taken place in Atlanta that Jalen Johnson is your best player. But not only that, cap integrity is so important these days that the money you spend on a player needs to be worth it. You need to get as much value out of the money you spend as possible. You cannot spend $40 million plus on a player with as many holes in his game as Trae Young has. He can be your second or third best player. He's an elite offensive player. He's a creator. He's a weapon. He stretches the floor. He has gravitational pull with his outside shooting. He is not a losing player. This idea that he has gotten worse from what he was the last few seasons, when we saw him make a playoff run, that surprise run a few years ago against the 76ers, he has not gotten worse as a player. The problem is that the way that teams are built these days, the team building has gotten smarter in the second apron era, where you need to get as much value out of your dollar as possible. And so your best player needs to be a multi-dimensional weapon or one of the best players in the league. Someone like Luka does not play defense. He's still worth every penny because he's one of the best players in the league and gives you value in all these other ways. Trae Young is an elite offensive player, and that's it. But that doesn't make him worthless. He's being judged right now like he's fallen off and he's garbage. And this idea of him going to Washington for McCollum and a pick going Washington's way, the value of Trae Young has gotten so low, and that's not really Atlanta's fault. To be early on this would have been very risky, and it makes sense that they waited this long. And it's just the place that the market has gotten to where this narrative has taken hold in the NBA community that Trae Young is not a winning player. There is no way that's true. A player's value is based on their role plus their talent. His talent has not gotten worse, but his role has shrunk. And so when he goes in and tries to fill a different role, you get a misalignment with the team and you get poor results. And that's why the team is worse with him on the floor. It's not because he is actually a player that makes his team worse. And that's why he wants to go to Washington, because he can be their best player. It's the best opportunity for him to get a max offer on his extension. He wants to get $50 million a year. If he goes to a team like Minnesota and becomes their second or third best player, that extension should be 30, 35 million, like the Brandon Ingram extension. That's what Trae Young would be looking at. He wants to go to a place where he has the opportunity to maximize his salary. And there's no problem with that. Don't call him a loser or say he doesn't care about winning because he doesn't want to go to a great team. Let that man get as much money as he possibly can, and then he's going to try to get traded after that. And that's why this situation with Washington is going to go down. There is an alignment between player and team with him in Washington that does not exist with Atlanta. With Atlanta, he wants to be their best player. He wants everything revolving around him. He wants to be paid max money. Atlanta has already said to him, we are not giving you a contract extension, at least not the one that you're looking for. And you're not our best player. Jalen Johnson is. So there are two misalignments right there. That means the relationship cannot continue and they have to move him. Whereas with Washington would love for him to be their best player, and they want to restore his status as a team's best player so that they themselves can flip him in a superstar trade a couple years from now when he's 29, 30 years old, and you get some desperate team that's looking to add some playmaking. That's when Trae Young's going to be willing to go to a team and be a team's second, third best player. He needs to secure this bag first. That's what this is all about. So this idea that he prefers Washington, it's only having to do with restoring his stature in the league and securing a max contract. That's why he wants to go there. Not to mention, it's a big city. I've never been there, but I presume it's a fun city for players. You know, he gets to be the star there. So that's where he wants to go, and all the competitive teams are now out of the picture. I was hoping a team like Minnesota was going to swoop in and grab him for this bargain basement price he's going to go for. But make no mistake, that is not his value. Salary dump for McCollum and other players is not Trae Young's value. He is a winning player, but his role needs to be aligned with the team. He needs to be a second or third best player on the team. This goes the other way too. There's this notion out there that Jaylen Brown has improved this year. Jaylen Brown has always been this great. He just is now the team's best player. He's asked to do more. So don't be surprised when Jason Tatum comes back and Jaylen Brown's production looks different. We're going to hear a lot of people say, what happened to Jaylen Brown? They don't fit. They don't fit anymore. Jaylen Brown looked so good, and now his production isn't the same. The tired old Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can't coexist argument. It's nonsense. He has not gotten better. He has always been this great. His role has increased. His responsibilities have increased. Same goes for Michael Porter Jr. Suddenly, Michael Porter Jr. is this better player than he was in Denver. This is why it's brilliant for bad teams to acquire players like this. They have roles where they can showcase these guys, give the false impression that they actually have that value, and then they can sell them for that value. And pundits and people in the NBA community will misjudge that player's value because of recency bias. They're seeing them in the role that they currently occupy, and they're saying, wow, Michael Porter Jr. can be a team's best player or second best player. When we saw in Denver, he's probably a team's third or fourth best player. But when you put him on the Nets and he's now your best player, you're asked to score as much as possible. Suddenly he looks like this dominant scorer. He hasn't improved. He's always been this talented. You have to ask yourself, what is the ceiling of the team based on where you align these players in their roles? And a team with Trae Young as their best player is not a second-round playoff contender. They can be a playoff team. And that's why Washington's interested. They're like, hey, we got plenty of young players. Let's see if we can get in the play-in picture, maybe get a first-round series, and then we'll see if we can flip Trae Young. And in return, we'll give him his max extension because we're not paying anybody anyway. They have this McCollum and Middleton contracts, both of them expiring, and they're going to have to hit that salary floor. So that's why they're doing this. They have to spend the money anyway. Makes total sense. But the idea that Trae Young has no value anymore does not make sense. The reason that the competitive teams are not interested in him is not because he's not a winning player. It's because they know that he wants the bag and they can't give it to him. Those teams can afford to give him $35 million a year, not $50 million a year. But that's what Trae Young is trying to get, one last bag. He's 27. That's absolutely what he should do. He can worry about winning later. That's what we're looking at with this situation. But don't get confused like some of these pundits I'm seeing out there. The value of the talent of these players is not changing. Their roles are. And you have to ask yourself, what is the ceiling of a team with Trae Young as your best player? What's the ceiling of a team with Jaylen Brown as your best player? Two very different things. Michael Porter Jr. These players are what they are. And that's why there's so much opportunity in trades, because you can grab a player who's miscast in their role. Like in this case, Trae Young, miscast as a best player, and so the team's trying to dump him, and he has this perceived value that he's fallen off. He's only fallen off relative to the expectations of the role that we're looking at him in. He has not fallen off talent-wise. So that's a golden opportunity to acquire a depreciated asset, give them that role that they want, reestablish their value, and flip them.